Hello, hello everybody. How are you today? I'm excited. Today we're going to talk about eyeshadows, and we're going to do an all over eyeshadow that is great for everybody. You can customize it to what you want it to be for your eye color, all that fun stuff. So we're going to go over that today. If I can find here it is. Here's my brush. Okay, so this is going to be 6 eyeshadows that you can use for brows, cheek color, contour, all of that fun stuff. So this is going to be a great tutorial for you. It may not be if you already don't struggle with that, but I don't know anybody who doesn't struggle with that. So for the first thing that I'm going to do, which I always like to do first, is my shadow, because I find that is the easiest to do. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of concealer to my lid. And you don't need a lot because this is wax. So I'm just taking a little bit and applying it to the lid. Okay. Now this is waterproof, which is perfect for mature skin, especially when it comes to your eyes and that kind of thing. You want to make sure that you use like a cream base that's waterproof, because then it helps you to it not to drag, if that's a good word to say. We don't want it dragging. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have that on. So let's get to our 6 colors. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, the first color is this brownish color, and I'm actually going to use it for my brows. So I just kind of shape them a little bit. We're not going to use tons, but my favorite thing to do is just to use eyeshadow for brows. We want to make them look as natural as possible, so I'm just slightly hitting them. I'm not hitting them too much, just enough to give them like hair-like brush strokes. Okay, I'm going to do the same over here. I'm just going to do this line. I don't want them to look boxy or anything like that. Hi, Christina. So I'm just slightly taking that brown shadow and giving myself brush-like strokes. Okay. Now I do put on brow gel, clear brow gel, before I put on my eyeshadow on my brows. And the reason I do that is because it freezes my brows. They don't go anywhere the rest of the day. So, and it keeps everything on there. And you're going to see here, I didn't really fill. I just barely tap the shadow. And I just kind of hit that right there, and it gives you the perfect brow. Very easy. I barely touched this dark brown shadow. Okay, so we're going to start with a transition color on the lid. But I like to take this little color right in here first, and I just kind of like to just dab it on the upper lid, because it's just going to give you that lighter look. Honestly, I am in love with the fact that you can use shadow for your whole entire look. Blush, contour, highlight, all that fun stuff. So I'm just taking this light pink color, Okay, and I'm using it as a transition color, nothing super huge. I'm just applying it to my lid. So you always want to pick a transition color. It could be brown, it could be pink, it can be whatever you want it to be, okay? This is the color that you're going to use to build on. And that's why I like this brush right here, because it really helps apply. And brushes make a huge difference. Brushes make a huge, huge, huge difference. Okay, so I'm not going to go super dramatic. I did pick out a 6th color. So with your different eye colors and that kind of thing, you want to pick out one dramatic eyeshadow that you can transition your day color to your dark, like night color. But we're not going to do that today, just for purposes. I don't want anybody to be overwhelmed. And typically you're going to find people are going to use it for every day. Okay, so we're going to go with this little brown color right here because we're building, right? So I'm just going to take that brown I'm just going to start to add that. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. It's easier to add than to take off. And you'll always hear me say that. It's easier to add than it is to take off. Okay, so this little brown color goes really, really well on top of this pink. So you'll see how they start to kind of impact each other. And that's just simple makeup, beginner layering color. And these are very pigmented eyeshadows, so that's why I start out fairly light, okay? And then I like to add more, okay? So you could leave it just like this. It's a great everyday brown look with a little pink in it. You could just leave it just like that. But you can take it a step further, and you can take that same brown that we used for the brows, and we're just going to add a little bit into the corner, okay? Into the corner. Okay, so do you see how it's just starting to, and you could leave it fairly light, or we can make it a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so I'm just going to start to add a little bit more to it. I'm just gonna kind of wipe it around. Now, the biggest struggle that I hear from a lot of ladies is they say that they feel like it drags, okay? So that's why I always just kind of pull the color in, and I go like that. You'll notice that when you have color on your brush, and you're going like that with a smaller brush, it's a little bit harder to see how it just kind of, so, but if you just pull that color over, it works fairly well. You just pull it over. Okay. Fluffier brushes, you're gonna find windshield wiper pretty easily. Okay, and that's gonna allow you to blend colors. Okay, so you could go darker, you don't have to, but this is a great everyday eyeshadow look, okay? Now, we're gonna do liner with our eyeshadow, and you wanna just take a setting spray, spray the back of your hand. We're gonna use this brown color. I love using brown as liner. Mature skin, perfect with browns. You wanna use browns, especially if you have fairer skin. Don't pull on your lids like me. Do as I say and not as I do. Okay, so do you see how that brown just kind of brings to life? Okay, do you see the difference there? How just that eyeshadow can just bring that to life. I'm telling you guys, having this 6 Well shadow has been a game changer for me, because when I travel, I don't have to lug all this stuff with me, which is perfect. Because who wants to lug all that, right? So do you see how that just adds a little bit of dimension? You're not looking like you just walked out of a drag show, right? You just have a little bit of color. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little bit under here, because I just want a little bit of color. Okay. And we're just going to layer some browns on here. Okay. Now you don't have to. You barely need any of the darker brown. Okay. I'm just taking a little bit of it, just because I like a little bit of color down there. Okay. Now, if you want to take that shimmery color that we used, take a little bit of that. You can put that in the corner there if you want to. Don't have to. It's optional. You can also use your finger. Finger works just as good. How many of you use eyeshadow for like contour, makeup, that kind of thing? How many of you have done that before? I'm going to show you guys this eyeshadow. It's an orange shadow. How many of you have used orange shadow to cover your imperfections? Okay, so I like to use orange shadow. If you have melasma, so let's say here, I obviously have a lot of melasma. Let's cover this right here. So when you have melasma, the way that you color correct it is with an orange, okay, with a brown color, right? So any brown spots you may have, orange is going to be the way to go. Okay, and so I'm going to take some powder over the top of it, because I hear people say to me, why do you have orange in your eyeshadow palette? Because it covers melasma. Okay, and then you just take a little bit of setting spray. Okay, let that sit there for a few seconds. Okay. Let's throw on some foundation, and then I'll show you how you can use these other eyeshadows for like your contour, your blush, all that fun stuff, okay? Oops, wrong thing. I pumped out moisturizer, guys. Oopsie doopsie. Okay. So we're gonna just go into the wax foundation. I'm just warming it up here. Okay. And then I'll show you guys how I cover up that melasma. One of my favorite brushes to use with application of foundation is Well, I have two favorite brushes. This is one of my favorite brushes right here. And then I also like this paintbrush. This paintbrush, it's not a paintbrush, but I call it that. It's a foundation brush. This is going to give you a little bit more coverage. So if you look here, it's going to cover a lot more. And I like this brush right here because it's kind of a fast way to apply, but it's a thinner application. Okay, so literally all I have to do is just tickle that foundation, go in, and it applies, okay? That's why I like this brush. It's like the lazy women's way of applying foundation. Well, for me, because I'm lazy sometimes. So that's why I call it that. And then I'm going to show you how I cover this melasma right here in just a second. Okay. You can see here where I have my glasses on all the time. Anybody else get those on their nose? I've been wearing my glasses so much, I'm starting to get like that nose piece line there. It's annoying. Okay, so you want to take a concealer that matches somewhat of your facial color. Okay, so you want to take like a coral color, almost like a off color. And we're just going to yeah, I used to wear glasses all the time, Christina, and then I stopped because it would just drove me nuts. I felt like I could never wear shadow. So do you see how that covered that melasma? I covered it with orange. Then I took a orange based concealer. So you're going to see here a coral versus a non-coral, which is a lighter. And you're going to notice that it just covers it right up. Okay. I have a lot of melasma. So if I just took concealer over the top of it, it wouldn't cover it. Do you see that? I had to first use an orange eyeshadow to color correct it and then use a concealer that matched my foundation shade, and so then it's covered. So it just shows you the difference. You can't just take a concealer and cover a melasma, right? You have to actually use that shadow. So that's why I like having this in my palette, because then I can just spray that, let it sit for a second, and then I can take some foundation right over the top of it. So if you feel like you want more application on your face, I would suggest this brush right here. You can layer with this brush right here, but I prefer this brush for more heavier application. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here. I'm not going to rub. I'm just going to pat that foundation on there. Okay. And there we go. Completely covered. If I were to go over here, you're still going to see that melasma. Okay. Because it wasn't color corrected. Okay. So you still see it underneath my skin. But when you put that orange on there, it completely covers it. Okay, crazy, huh? Crazy. If you didn't know that, make sure you say didn't know that. So that's why I always recommend this orange in there. Also, it looks really great with eyeshadow. I know you guys are like, orange eyeshadow? It actually looks really, really pretty. Orange eyeshadow looks really, really pretty. So we're going to use this brown right here. We're going to use it for a bronzer. Okay, so we're just going to take this brown. Let me clean my brush here. Okay, so I'm just going to take my brush. I'm going to pat it in there. Okay, and I'm just gonna go in. Do you see how that works as a bronzer? It's a really pretty bronzer. It's a lighter bronzer. It's not anything over brown. It's just a lighter, brown. Put it along here. So it's the same brown. Now, if you guys like really dark bronzer, you could go into this brown color. I, for one, am not going to do that dark today. I don't want to be that dark. But if you really want to get into the dark contour and that kind of thing, you can definitely do that. We're going to do this pink color that we used on our shadow. We're going to use that for blush. Okay. And this is a really pretty color. Okay. I love this for the winter time because it just kind of gives you that, just that pinkish rosy color. Okay, do you see how, now if you feel like, oh my gosh, I got too much on me, just take your foundation brush and it just blends it right out. Okay, just blends it right out. Now you can use this one as a highlighter, that shimmery color that we had. Okay, now if you don't want to do a highlighter, you don't have to. Okay, but I know I have some ladies that love their highlighter. Okay. And when I say highlighter, you don't have to do a lot. People think when you have a highlighter, it has to be like super, it has to be super present. Just a light highlighter is fine. And that's why I like to use the shadow, because it just gives me a little bit of shine. That's all it does. And I like that. And you're going to be able to use this for your lip. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I use it for my lip. So I like to take our lip balms and I like to use the lip balms as lipstick, or the lip balm on before I apply this. Give me a second here. I'm just going to get a lip. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to just take this brush right in here. I'm going to clean it off. Okay, and I'm going to take the eyeshadow. This is the same color we used on the eyes, same color we used as blush. And we're going to use it as a lip color. Now I like this because it's super like light and fresh. I need to exfoliate my lips again. I'm finding I have to do that like every day because my lips are they're so darn dry. Okay. So dang on dry. And then I just like to take a lip gloss of some sort. And this has been my let me find my lip gloss. It's been like my go-to lip gloss. Here it is right here. This is my go-to lip gloss with this look. This is Peace. Peace. And then you always want to just finish off your look with a mascara. Right? Who doesn't want a mascara? So it's super easy to take 6 eyeshadows and create it into something that you can use every single day. And to be honest with you, that's my kind of look, because then I can have one for winter and I can have one for summer with really fun colors. And I never used to use eyeshadow as all over stuff. I didn't know you could do that. I never really thought about it, right? And until probably a year ago, I started using shadow and blushes for shadow, or started using eyeshadow as all over stuff, right? Because there's times where I don't have to, or I don't have my liner with me. I might just have this eyeshadow palette with me if I go on vacation or whatnot, if I know I'm going to be in the heat or something like that. So I just prefer to travel with just one eyeshadow palette. And so it takes care of itself. So we've got this light brown, the orange for covering the melasma, this pink color or blush color, this lighter color. Hi, Jamie. And then we have the dark brown that we used for brows, liner. You can use it for contour if you want to. We use this blush color for all over blush and eyeshadow. We also used this brown for our eyes, this one for contour, and then we use this one for highlighter. And then I always just add in a color that goes well with your eye color. So we have a different eyeshadow. That's no problem. So you can either do, if you have brown eyes, green eyes, blue eyes, hazel eyes, I kind of guide you in the direction as to what dramatic color to get. So if you want to change it from a day look to an evening look, then you don't have any problems. So, okay guys, I hope this was helpful for you. If you need to know what color your eye color would go with a dramatic color, shoot me a message and I can help you. So that's how you do an everyday look from 6 eyeshadows. So I'll see you guys.